hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry if there's a little glare. I'm going to try to fix that in editing, but it's really sunny and this is the best spot. The other sides were way worse. So summer. But if you guys watched our life update, you know that I had the baby, and obviously I'm holding her right now, this little newborn. So this is Eleanor. If you guys watch our life update, you know about a little bit that I gave birth, that we took some time off, and a little bit about the content that we wanted to create moving forward. And if you haven't, I'll pin it up here. But also last week was the name reveal, so like I said, her name is Eleanor. If you want to see the full story of how we decided on her name and the meaning of her name and kind of the story behind it, that was last week's video as well, so you can go back and watch that. But when we were talking about what content we wanted to do moving forward as far as the family content, being a family of four and stuff like that, I mentioned that I never got to do the third trimester recap of like my symptoms, and I did, you know, trimester 1 and 2 on the channel. If you want to go back and watch those, if you haven't watched them, go back and watch them. But today I'm going to be doing a recap of my third trimester. So third trimester for me was hard in some ways and easy in others. You know, my birth went pretty good. I'll be doing a birth story. Me and my husband will be sharing our birth story soon, so stay tuned for that. But in general, there were a couple things that came up that were a little bit risky, but it all worked out in the end. You'll hear it in the birth story. I'm not going to share here, but everything was good. So third trimester, I was dealing with like the high risk side of my pregnancy. If you guys didn't know, my pregnancies are high risk because I had gestational hypertension with both pregnancies, and then with this pregnancy I also had gestational diabetes. My gestational diabetes was always well controlled just by diet. So once I found out I had it, basically I followed the diet of my nutritionist and was able to keep my numbers always really good, even without any insulin. So I was never on insulin. It was just diet controlled gestational diabetes, and she didn't have any complications or anything like that at birth. I am fine now. Like, there's no complications from the gestational diabetes. I had gestational hypertension as well with both of my pregnancies, and with my gestational hypertension, it tends to go up at the end of pregnancy, which was the reason for my induction. With my first daughter, we obviously didn't know that was going to happen, and my induction was an unplanned induction. And then with my second daughter, my induction was planned because we kind of already knew my history. We kind of already knew what was going to happen. And by 38 weeks, I got induced. I got induced at like 38 weeks and 2 days, which was good because that was like around the same time that my blood pressure was starting to elevate. If you guys don't know, pregnancy-related hypertension is caused by like the hormones of the placenta, and like your body just kind of that's the way your body is reacting to the hormones. Obviously I'm not a doctor, but that's what they told me. Obviously doctors can explain it better. And it's different than preeclampsia because preeclampsia has to do with the kidneys, and preeclampsia is life-threatening, and preeclampsia causes a lot more damage and is more of an emergency that the baby would need to be delivered usually immediately, probably be premature, versus hypertension, which can usually be managed throughout the pregnancy but does have to be watched. You are at higher risk for preeclampsia with gestational hypertension, but luckily with both my daughters I did not develop preeclampsia. But gestational hypertension is still serious, does still hold possible complications, and does still have to be managed. Luckily with both my pregnancies I was able to manage it. Like I said, we did induce with a planned induction for my second daughter because that was the safest option. So yes, I was induced around 38 weeks with her, and she was born healthy and happy at 6 pounds 8 ounces, which is just shy of a few ounces smaller than my first daughter, so it was okay. But leading up into my third trimester, leading up into all of that, the birth and all of that, I was dealing with making sure that I managed my high risk diagnosis. So that was part of it. So leading up into my third trimester, I was on more of a restricted diet, but that was more for the gestational diabetes. As far as the hypertension, I had to take my hypertension medication that they've had me on during the pregnancy. I was also on aspirin during the pregnancy. I've been on aspirin both my pregnancies, which helps prevent the hypertension from becoming preeclampsia. So taking your prescribed medication, third trimester was part of it, and taking my blood sugars 4 times a day was part of it, and just keeping logs of everything, extra appointments, NST tests, all of that was part of my third trimester. And luckily there was minimal complications from my diagnosis, and baby was healthy, I'm healthy, and everything worked out. But getting into more symptoms, so I put the gestational diabetes and hypertension as part of symptoms because certain things, you know, go into that. You know, you're dealing with your third trimester and you're dealing with those extra symptoms and extra kind of like monitoring that you wouldn't have to deal with if you were high risk. And I think it's important to talk about those things. And then also leading into my third trimester, I definitely had, so this time around, I had sciatic pain between 30 and 32 weeks, and I had to actually do like special workouts for the sciatic pain, pregnancy workouts that entailed specific yoga moves that would relieve the pressure of my sciatic nerve. And the reason why my sciatic nerve pain was so bad this pregnancy, I didn't have that with my first daughter. I don't think I had it at all. But my second daughter, the reason why it was so bad was because the way she was positioned, she was head down by 30 weeks, but she was head down and kind of pressing on the side and pressing on my sciatic nerve. And so between 30 and 32 weeks, I kind of did the yoga. There was a point where I was like barely able to walk. But luckily doing the pregnancy yoga, I was able to kind of get her to get off of my sciatic nerve, and then the pain went away. However, I did have a lot of pelvic pressure, just like heaviness of carrying her. And I think because it was a second pregnancy, it was a little bit worse. And even like postpartum, I'll probably do another video. I'll probably do a future video about my postpartum experiences and just like comparing them, but letting you know now to go along with the pelvic pressure symptom. It was definitely worse my second pregnancy, and I think that's just because it's a second baby. So it's the second time your body's carrying a heavy baby, second time the uterus is going through all of that. So that was definitely a symptom my third trimester. Also, my third trimester, I had the shortness of breath. Not shortness of breath to the point where it's like a complication, because you can get shortness of breath because of serious pregnancy complications, but more of like, not like I can't breathe. If you can't breathe, you need to see your doctor and you probably need to go to the emergency room, but more of just like a winded when you speak kind of thing. And that's from all your organs being pushed up. I had it with both pregnancies. Another symptom that happened to me early in my third trimester that happened with both my daughters was that I started to get nosebleeds. My doctors did say that when nosebleeds are a symptom of pregnancy, it's due to hormonal and like gravital changes that happen in your body during pregnancy. They do say like the hormonal component is more likely for you to get nosebleed symptoms when you are carrying a girl than boys. Obviously, I have nothing to compare it to because I have 2 daughters and it happened to me with both my pregnancies, but I can say, you know, maybe it is true that it's more common with your carrying girls because it happened to me in both pregnancies. I was pregnant with girls both times, obviously. So yes, I never experienced nosebleeds in my life except during pregnancy, and both times it happened around the third trimester. This time was a little bit less severe than last time. So with my first daughter, my nosebleeds weren't severe, but since I'm someone who never experienced nosebleeds at all, they were severe for me, if that makes sense. This time with my second daughter, Eleanor, I did experience them, but they were very minimal and probably less. So with my first daughter, literally I would get a nosebleed once or twice a week for my entire third trimester. With Eleanor, it happened sporadically, probably 3 or 4 times in my third trimester. So it wasn't as much, but it did happen. Also in my third trimester, I had, my food aversions went away this time. So with Anna, my first daughter, I had the same aversion to chicken, but it never went away until I gave birth. Versus with Eleanor, it went away basically at the end of my second trimester. It started to go away, but by my third trimester, I could eat chicken as if I wasn't pregnant, as if I didn't have that aversion at all anymore. And then this pregnancy, I did get some back pain, but not until my third trimester. So I would say that was another symptom. And all in all, the last symptom I would say was new. The last 2 symptoms actually that I would say was new in the third trimester was at the end of my second trimester, but it was very minimal. But by my third trimester, it was extremely painful, which was burning breasts and burning nipples, guys. And by my third trimester, it was extremely painful to the point where it was like I would have these bouts of like 15 to 20 minutes of extreme burning in my nipples and pain, and even sometimes like to the point of like tears. That is because my milk came in early this time. So with my, I don't know how common this is, like if it's like a second time mom thing or whatever, but with my first daughter, my milk didn't come in for about 3 days. And I never had colostrum during pregnancy. I didn't get colostrum until she was born, and then my milk came in like 3 days later. So it kind of was like late onset of milk, which led to some issues with breastfeeding with my first daughter. With my second daughter, I got colostrum in my breast already during pregnancy in the second trimester, so it wasn't an issue. But then my milk was also coming in quicker, and my milk actually transformed from colostrum to milk very quickly, within less than 24 hours after giving birth this time, which has helped in the breastfeeding journey. We still, for other reasons, have to supplement with formula with her, but it's way less than my first daughter. She's probably getting about 80-85% breast milk at this point, and then just supplementing with formula, versus with my daughter, it was way more difficult with breastfeeding, and she was getting more like 50-50. But anyway, I'll get into more of that in another video when I talk about my breastfeeding journey. But in general, yes, the burning was from hormonal shifts, like my doctor said, and the milk coming in earlier this time, which probably is like your body already knows what to do. But it was just like a burning. I don't know if you guys, if you've been pregnant, or if you've been pregnant and you've had like a letdown feeling and not got to pump right away, it's like a burning, but mine was just super intense around the nipple during the pregnancy. So that was the last third trimester symptom, and that was like new. I never had that with my daughter, but like I said, the milk situation was a little different, so it makes sense. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to do this video today because I wanted to finish off. I didn't want to leave you guys with having a first trimester video and a second trimester video and then never doing the third. It felt very unfinished to me, and I know some people follow these for actual, like, to follow their own pregnancies or compare symptoms. So I just wanted to go back. So baby is here, we are healthy, she's a month old, we're doing great, but I just wanted to finish off these little trimester recap videos for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to watch them all, I will link them in this video as well, so you can go back and watch them all if you haven't, if this is your first one, and kind of follow along to what my first pregnancy symptoms were versus this pregnancy, or just follow along if you're pregnant, you want to know if we have similar symptoms or whatever. But I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks.